We begin tonight with the investigation into the death of Emily Pike. The 14-year-old girl was murdered, and her remains were discovered near Globe weeks after she went missing from a Mesa group home. There's been an outpouring of support from the indigenous community in the valley, raising awareness about her death. However, investigators have yet to bring a suspect into custody. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Tonight, we're hearing directly from the Gila County Sheriff's Office as they continue to investigate her brutal murder. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono is live in the newsroom. And Bianca, we know there have been no arrests yet, but have officials at least identified a suspect or a person of interest?
They have not, but I'm told they're aggressively pursuing countless leads. And with the help of the FBI and Bureau of Indian Affairs, they hope to solve this disturbing case as quickly as possible. How often are you guys getting tips and leads at this point?
Our detectives are getting calls almost around the clock.
Lieutenant Jim Lottie is with the Gila County Sheriff's Office, the lead agency investigating the murder of 14-year-old Emily Pike. When you take into account the way in which Emily's remains were recovered and found, how does that impact your investigation?
It doesn't change how we investigate. It is definitely, in this particular case, I would use the description of a special kind of evil.
The 14-year-old girl with a contagious smile was a beloved member of the San Carlos Apache tribe. But on January 27th, she was last seen alive on foot near Mesa Drive and McKellips Road after leaving the Mesa group home where she lived.
There was some surveillance footage that the detectives are looking into.
What about the area where her remains were found?
In that area, that's such a rural area. There's like no housing, there's no businesses, it's just, forest.
2 weeks after she was last seen, Emily's remains were found off the US 60 near Globe, her head and torso in trash bags. But investigators say they don't believe that's where she was killed. This week, the Sheriff's Office announcing the FBI and Bureau of Indian Affairs are assisting in the investigation. Mike Anderson is a retired FBI special agent.
The FBI will be involved in interviewing family, friends, acquaintances for information. Even the smallest breadcrumb can result in investigative leads. They will also be looking at her electronic footprint.
Right now, there are no persons of interest, suspects, or arrests. Some of Emily's remains remain missing, though investigators have stated there is no active threat to the public. Given the fact that the person or people who did this are still out there, how can you assure public safety?
There isn't anything that we can point to say that, yes, there is a threat. We don't know yet, who our suspects are or the person of interest.
Emily's murder sending shockwaves throughout Indian country, sparking a greater conversation about missing and murdered Indigenous women, sharing Emily's name and story to ensure she is not forgotten.
The detective shared with me they're getting a lot of calls from people that are like, please don't let this case die, keep looking, and a lot of concern and care. And that's one of the things I would say to the people out there. Yes, we appreciate the concern and the care, and we have just as much as we pursue this investigation.
And Emily's cause of death is still being investigated by the medical examiner's office. I asked if detectives have recovered DNA evidence from the scene where Emily's remains were found. The lieutenant was unable to comment. If you have any information about what happened to Emily Pike, contact the Gila County Sheriff's Office. We're live in the newsroom. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you. Now to the U.S.-Mexico border, where travelers are experiencing some changes during spring break travel. If you're heading south of the border for your vacation, you'll need more than just your passport. Mexico is now requiring U.S. citizens to fill out an immigration form before they can cross. And it's created incredibly long lines at the port of entry. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly spoke with one of those travelers. And Chase, they had no idea that this was happening.
Caribe, this process is not new, but Mexican immigration authorities are now strictly enforcing it, leaving people waiting hours to get into Mexico and having to pay.
Like countless Arizonans, Jim McCauley and his wife, who live in Scottsdale, were heading into Mexico for a day trip.
We were going to visit the pharmacy, have a lunch, and then be on our way. It's something we've done many, many times before.
They usually go in on foot and say the process is easy.
Normally walking into Mexico is just like walking into a Walmart.
But on Thursday, when they got to the point of entry in Yuma, that wasn't the case.
The line was very, very long. Most of the people in line didn't know what was going on. The only progress that we made in that line were people that were leaving.
When they asked others how long they had been in line,
They were telling us it was a 3 to 4 hour wait.
both finally decided to cancel their trip because of it.
It was frustrating because we didn't expect it, hadn't heard about it. For us, it's a 3.5 hour trip down there and back.
The reason for the long wait, U.S. citizens traveling into Mexico not only have to bring their passport, but now must obtain a travel visa, according to the Mexican consulate of Phoenix, a form most Americans don't know about because Mexico hasn't strictly enforced it until now.
That's what was taking so much time, as far as we could tell.
The consulate says it's to make tourists comply with the requirements and for safety. You can fill it out at the port of entry or online. To find it, go to the Mexican consulate of Phoenix website, click on this link called Visa para Personas. From there, click the first link near the top. Hit this plus sign, agree to the conditions, then fill out the form, including where you're going in Mexico, what port of entry you're entering, and other personal information. You can then print out the form and bring it with you. However, the consulate says it will cost you about $30. For Macaulay, he says until the process gets smoothed out, he isn't planning on going to Mexico anytime soon.
It's not worth the time or the effort now.
Now, the consulate says those with dual citizenship do not need to fill out this visa. You can also find a link to that form on our website, 12news.com. Mark?
All right, Chase, thanks. Well, this was a weather impact alert day all across the state. In the high country, it snowed for most of the day and into the early evening. And with all of the Flagstaff schools closed, it made for the perfect snow day. However, the storm also caused some road closures. Westbound I-40 is closed in Winslow after some crashes caused by the weather. Eastbound lanes are also closed near Kingman and in Ash Fork due to slide-offs. Meanwhile, the southbound lanes of State Route 87 are closed near Payson tonight. Back here in the valley, it was all about the rain, with Phoenix finally getting some decent rain, more than we've had in months. The D-backs and several other spring training games were rained out. It was also a really messy day out at the Phoenix Raceway, but it looks like we're trying out for the weekend. Let's check in with meteorologist Crystal Long for your weather impact forecast.
Just in time for all of our outdoor weekend plans, our blockbuster winter storm's going to exit the building and it will be back to the old drawing board. So we're going to see those last flakes fly right around northeastern Arizona. You could see the snowflakes swirling around here through those overnight hours while you're sleeping. You'll see those final last-minute showers right here, and then by the time you are waking up on your Saturday, because I know you're sleeping in on a weekend, you're going to see pure sunshine bursting through your window, and that's going to do its part to help us get launched into the right direction in a warming trend. Although temperatures are still going to be chilled below average across the state tomorrow, we will see some clouds clinging on early on, as I showed you, in eastern Arizona for rim country and the White Mountains, but they'll yield to more sunshine throughout the day. And then we all go sunshine galore on Sunday. We're even getting close to that 80-degree mark again in the valley. We'll be back up on the thermometer in the 50s and 60s for our mountain regions. But spoiler alert, I already have my eye on two more winter weather makers. Tuesday and Thursday are the days we're looking at big chances for rain and snow in our state. And yes, Phoenix, you're getting in on that rain mix. I've got more details on that next.
All right, Crystal, we'll see you then. We continue to follow some developing news in Phoenix, where police now say that a juvenile was killed in a shooting on Wednesday near the 51 and Thunderbird. Police say that the victim was shot multiple times and that he later died at the hospital. Investigators are still trying to find a suspect. They say that several people were in the area of the time of the shooting, but they were gone by the time police arrived. If you have any information about what happened, you are asked to call Silent Witness at 480-WITNESS.
Well, we're keeping you in the loop about things happening in the West Valley, and tonight we're learning more about a dozen new license plate readers being used by the Buckeye Police Department.
That's right. The technology helps officers solve cases, catch criminals, and find missing persons. 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham has more.
Drive around Buckeye and you'll soon see more of these. They're known as LPRs, or license plate readers, and are an incredible tool for law enforcement.
License plate readers are oriented to capture the back of a vehicle to read the license plate. What they also do is they take a snapshot. So we're seeing the color of the vehicle, if there's any stickers or damage to that vehicle.
The Buckeye Police Department first spoke with the city about using the technology in fall of 2021. They were installed the year after. To date, about 40 are being used.
The primary thing that we get from LPRs is that when a stolen vehicle enters our city, our dispatch is notified immediately and our officers are able to locate those stolen vehicles within a matter of moments.
City Council, though, recently approving the addition of 17 that, like the others, will be placed strategically around Buckeye.
So you have some license plate readers that are able to scan 2 lanes of traffic. These new ones can scan 3 to 4 lanes of traffic. So that's going to be beneficial, especially when we're expanding roadways in the city as we get bigger.
The department will get the readers and install them over the next few months. The cost of all 57 is almost $600,000. Buckeye Police, though, saying it's well worth it.
The Buckeye Police Department has always put a premium on what is new, what is modern, but more so, how can it help policing and how can it help us keep our community safe, keep our officers safe as well.
The Buckeye Police Department telling me in 2024 they actually saw a reduction in crime when compared to the previous year. And one of the reasons they say is the use of technology like these license plate readers that's being used all across the city. In Buckeye, Jay Cunningham, 12 News.